Welcome back, everyone. We are into the under-17 boys right now. We have about 3 minutes, 30 seconds left. We haven't seen a race from these guys yet, so we are getting them on your screen for this next race.
Indeed, it is time for day number 4 here at the 2025 Techno293 World Championships here in North Wales, Pwllheli, UK. And it has been an awesome day so far. We've already witnessed some great action on the water.
It has been beautiful, and it looks like the wind is staying around to play at the moment. It was forecast to drop, but it is still around that 8 to 11, 12 knot mark. So it is in that between conditions where we will see some people getting onto the rail where they're getting that extra speed. And yeah, it really is who can get their own wind, who can get the best start. And as we see right now, they are starting to jostle for that starting position.
Starting to get into their pre-start routine. Well, they would have already started their pre-start routine many times before, but getting into that last 2.5 minutes, the last kind of half of this start before the gun goes, what will they be thinking, Kieran?
That is right. I mean, as they've seen from the previous races, there has been a bit of advantage starting towards that boat end. It might have been because a little bit of line sag where some of the people in the middle may not be hitting the line on go. So it might be a bit of an advantage starting at that starboard end where they know exactly where the line is. And it looks like we have a postponement on the boat, ladies and gentlemen, so we will not be starting in 2 minutes. Maybe the wind has moved around, maybe they need to change the course up, but so there will be a slight delay into the next race.
I mean, looking out onto the course, out in the waters here in Pwllheli, it's looking like the wind has actually picked up a bit. I mean, the forecast was actually for it to die throughout the day.
That is right.
Kieran, I think it's picked up a bit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the forecast was for it to start dying towards midday and then pick up towards the end of the day. So maybe we have just fast forwarded through the end of the day. I mean, it is quite warm out there, so there may be that difference between the heat on the water and the cool air coming off the mountains to the north. Maybe that's still just providing a good bit of wind over the racecourse.
For everyone tuning in from around the world, local time here is 12:20, just past midday. So it's kind of at that midday mark. As you said, you know, it's may have fast forwarded it.
Yeah, it seems like that. I mean, we are still scheduled 4 races today. We have 1 complete so far for the under-17 boys and girls and the Techno Plus. The Techno Plus is in their second race at the moment.
Certainly in their second race, but now out on the course we have the committee boat, big signed committee boat, which is pretty cool. Not kind of a rarity. You don't really see it in big letters, committee boat, but that is it. And we got a lot of people on that boat, don't we?
That's right. Very hard to miss them. We'll have the race officer who is dictating the racing, controlling where the course goes, and their helpers sorting the flags out, running any errands that needs to be done, just making sure everything is running very smoothly. So a big shout out for them for getting some amazing races underway this week.
Amazing races we have seen throughout the week. We've actually seen 9 races so far. So actually getting towards the end of this kind of championships. We do have a maximum number of races.
That's right, 16 races scheduled for this week. There isn't much wind forecast for Saturday, so I think there's a rough plan of trying to get all the races done as quick as possible.
And they are showing that these riders are doing it as quick as possible, really speeding all the way around the course. In each race we have a target time of around 20 minutes, which is quite a long race, isn't it?
That is quite long for competitors who are honestly working their hardest. I mean, 4 races of 20 minutes of max out effort. That is, by the end of the day, they are ready for some food, that is for sure.
Certainly ready, and that's the amazing thing about this sailing club as well, Pwllheli. I remember yesterday, I think they all got some sausage rolls on the way back to the beach, and also some pasta as well. You know, it's a Michelin star experience here.
You cannot say that Pwllheli Sailing Club is not providing.
It is providing, and the windsurfers are providing an amazing show out here in Pwllheli on the waters. It is just great to see all these orange 7.8 sails, 7.8 Techno293 sails out on the waters. It's looking great.
That is great. Yeah, that is right. They're all one design as well, so they are all on the exact same equipment. That really is a great way to test who is the best sailor over that week.
Exactly. It is awesome. You know, this racing out here, we have people from all ages, from all around the world, racing it out here on this equipment, showing us that, you know, this equipment is top tier. You know, it's not specialized. Anyone can jump on this Techno 293 class equipment and just get racing straight away. However, this equipment is quite tunable. So, for example, the sail can have downhaul and outhaul. Kieran, as a world champion and an absolute expert within these sails from being this, can you tell us a little bit about the sails and how they're tunable?
That is right. As you just heard there is downhaul and outhaul. So the downhaul is what we usually say controls the power of the sail, the controllability. When it's windier, you want to crank on as much downhaul as possible. That basically flattens off the sail. It makes the wind go across the sail way more smoothly, so you don't capture quite as much. Like I said earlier, the sail is the engine. You're basically reducing the size of your engine. And what we say is the outhaul. That is the power control of the sail. If you are going downwind and you want more power, you let some of that outhaul off. You make the belly bigger. You grab more of that wind. So today's conditions, it is quite light, so they're probably going for minimum settings at the moment where they're trying to get as much power and energy out of that sail as possible.
Yeah, it's great. These rigs are really tunable, which is great, along with all the harness lines and the boom, kind of the height on that boom, depending on what size you like. But one thing that's very interesting, actually, about these changeable elements, for all the free ride windsurfers out there, usually you have to tune this before you go afloat on the water. However, and then once you go on the water, that is set in stone before you come back and change that. However, the amazing thing about this Techno rig at the minute is that all these riders actually have adjustable outhaul and downhauls, meaning that they can tune it out on the water.
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, it's a really hard skill to learn, because if you can tune these on the move, you can adjust to any gust that hits you, especially in shifty conditions or other conditions where you might just get a really big change of wind during a race. You want to be able to change that on the move. So these kids will be training in their spare time to use these adjustable parts of their equipment. Also, a unique thing about this equipment is their mast track. That is where the sail meets the board. There are 3 different positions on the Techno board where you can have it. At the moment, they will be all having it at the front. And we've just had word, we are into 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
5 minutes for the under 17 boys coming up very soon with their next start going ahead. Out on that committee boat, we can see that tall orange flag. That is the warning flag, and also marks exactly one end of the start line. And then also behind that France 50 sail, there we have it, that blue flag, Techno 293 blue flag. And that signifies that we are in sequence for the youth under 17 boys.
Yeah, that is correct. So we've just had a short delay. They might have been moving some of the women marks or just waiting for the Techno Plus fleet to clear the race course, ready for the under 17 boys to get going underway. They're raring. As you can see, they're crowding around that start boat at the moment, maybe getting that transit we were talking about earlier, or just looking at the wind, where it's coming from, what their strategy might be for the race. Do they want to go left? Do they want to go right? It is really up to them.
It is really up to them, as within this last 5 minutes, they are not allowed to talk to their coaches. After the racing, they are allowed to hop on to their ribs of the coaches, have a little chat through, have a little refuel, and maybe they might get some tips from their coaches about the next race. However, they're not allowed to be on their coach boat within this next sequence.
No, that is correct. It is up to them from that 4 minutes onwards. But it is a team sport. I mean, the coaches will be keeping an eye out. They will be seeing where the other fleets have been leading from. So there is lots of knowledge to be gained out there.
As we have 56 under 17 boys racing it out here for their next race here on day number 4 of the Techno 293 World Championships here in North Wales, Pwllheli in the UK, and it's been yet another amazing day this week for this pinnacle event.
Yeah, correct. And a little story of the week so far. I mean, we have two Greek sailors in first and second position, so they are doing something right. Probably friends from back home. They will be training together, and they will be very happy right now. Followed by a Turkish Kayan Aslan in third position at the moment, doing really well. And there's a really mixed bag beyond that. We have some French, some Portuguese, some Belarus. Is incredible.
Yeah, from all around the world, and finishing off that top 10, we have that Belgium, we have Spain, Greece, Turkey, and Italy. From all around the world, it's epic to see so many people here in Wales. I've been talking to all these people from around the world. In the Mediterranean, maybe it's super super hot, all the way from Asia. And everybody loves it. This is the place to come. Your next holiday destination, Pwllheli, Wales.
That's right. Get on that Jet2 holiday.
Might even find a 50% deal, £200 for a family of four.
That's right. We are having a lot of fun right now as we are going into 1 minute 30 seconds to the start. Now it is starting to heat up on the start line. We have some competitors over the line at the moment, but they will be looking to drift down below that line. This is just a really good tactical way of making sure you are on that first fleet, that first line of the start line.
It's looking very close for a lot of these riders, maybe pushing that start just a little bit too much. Kieran, tell us what happens if they are over that start line within the last minute.
That is right. I think we are on I flag at the moment. If I am, looks like a few people will be over. So unless they go around the ends, if it is that I flag I was talking about, they will be disqualified. So if they can know and identify that they were over, there will be another flag that goes up at the gun to indicate to the sailors that there were some people over.
I mean, we can only speculate at this angle. Only the committee boat knows exactly. However, it is looking like at least 3 or 4 are extremely close on that line. Extremely close indeed. Hopefully, they will find out if they're over that start line or not. I know.
That is correct, and we're down to the final 15 seconds. Now, if there are too many over, they will pull everyone back for a general recall, and they will have another chance for this start. Into the final 10 seconds, it looks like there is a big clump in the middle of the line.
Huge clump.
This is getting tough. Everyone is going there. This could be a general here, but we will see. And they are off.
And they are off for their next race here on day number 4 of the 2025 Techno293 World Championships. And it is power, it is gas for each and every one of these riders. But straight away, we can see that rib hoisting at that general recall flag, meaning that we will be underway for another restart.
That is right. They are pulling everyone back right now. There was just too many people over for the race committee to call people back individually, which is very lucky if you're one of those sailors that was over. It means you have another chance. You will not be disqualified from this race. So, depending on who you are, that is either very lucky or unfortunate that maybe some of your fellow competitors weren't disqualified from that race.
Very, very lucky indeed for some of those riders. I mean, that's kind of the absolute thing you do not want to be, is disqualified from a race, because straight away you have that last place. But we will be going underway with another start very, very soon, because a lot of riders were over that start line, and it was actually too many riders over that start line for the committee to tell. So they have now general recalled it and getting underway with another start in not too long at all.
That is right. They were really pushing for that line. It just shows how eager they are to try and get on that front foot of the race. It is super important to get that clean air off the line. So clearly everyone was just trying a little bit too hard. So maybe a little rethink of some tactics before this next start.
A little bit of tactics, a little bit of preparation, and a little bit maybe more of a fuel up ready to get this next start underway. Who will we be seeing leading the next races? Stay tuned to find out.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back into the final 4 minutes.
And we are back in the game indeed, coming up to the last 3 minutes until we get the start underway yet again for the day number 4 of the 2025 Techno293 class World Championships. And now coming up, we have the under-17 boys. But tell us a little bit, Kieran, about what's just happened.
That's right. So we have just had a general recall. And as you can see, the race committee will not be wanting that to happen again. So we have a black flag displayed. And what that means is anyone who is over in the final minute will be instantly disqualified from the race. They do not want that to be happening again.
No, they do not want that to be happening again. Because the thing about general recalls, let's say it doesn't waste time, but it uses time. It uses time that is dead. Dead time.
That's right. I mean, there could be at least a 10-minute delay, let's say, between the races, and when the forecast is for it to drop, they really want to get those races in, so they want to just make it clear, do not be over the line again, and that will change some of the tactics up again. I mean, for those competitors near the front of the fleet, having a black flag on their scorecard is not... If there is a general, they will just be pulling as many names out that they have seen, so whether you were over or not, you could get lucky, but it is best to be safe and make sure you are under that start line. And we have dropped signal. We are back.
We are back in the game, and back in the game we are, as it's looking very good. All the riders starting to pull back behind that line now. But it's very interesting because throughout this day, we've actually seen a lot of line sag. A lot of these riders kind of being far back behind the line. However, now we are seeing these under-17 boys really pushing this line at the minute, aren't we?
That is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, we're down to 45 seconds.
Wi-Fi's gone.
Anyway, 30 seconds left, everyone.
30 seconds left, and we are in to the last few seconds before the start is underway. It's...
We're back. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, if that signal has dropped out there. But yes, we're into the final 15 seconds. It looks like everyone is clear behind the line.
And it's looking good. We're into the last 10 seconds now. Only 5 seconds. Everyone's starting to speed up, accelerate, putting in some really big pumps, driving that board forward and translating into speed, really trying to allow themselves to establish a lane within this race so far. And Belgium 94 definitely having the best start so far.
What a great start from Belgium and Greece there. They were not scared of that black flag. They knew exactly where their transit was, and they hit that line with some incredible speed, and they have such an advantage already from the get-go.
Certainly do. All 56 riders in the under-17 boys class now racing within day number 4. Certainly, we said Belgium 94 currently leading this start so far, and that is Julian Omey from Belgium. He came into today in 6th place position, but now he has shown why he has the potential to be right up at the top. I mean, even just to be inside the top 10, top 20, top 30, even just to be racing within this World Championship is a huge achievement for each and every one of these riders. This is the pinnacle event. This is the highest level event for this Techno293 class, and to be racing here is a huge achievement, isn't it?
It really is, and like I said, they are working so hard, and if they can get anywhere in that top 5, top 10, that is such an achievement. They will be going back to the start of their school year with some bragging rights, that is for sure. And the Belgian has tacked off. That is a commanding position at the moment, and it does look like the wind has dropped off a touch, so they are in that full displacement mode. And like I said, it's in that displacement mode, whoever can work the hardest will probably be towards the front of the fleet.
Certainly will. It is rather up and down. I mean, very earlier on in the day, when we first arrived here in the morning, it was pretty breeze on actually, wasn't it? But then as soon, like within not much time at all, it started dropping and dropping and dropping, but it wasn't kind of consistently dropping. It was dropping in gusts, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is right. And there probably is some topography coming into play there. As we look to the east and north, there is a lot of mountains in the North Wales mountain range, and that can really mess up what is going on with the wind. But it does seem to be consistently dropping throughout the day, and I mean, some competitors will really like that lighter winds. I mean, it is a wind space based sport, so the weight can come into a bit of play here. So if you're lighter, there might have a little bit of advantage with some speed, but the stronger people, the bigger people out there, do have a bit of strength to put into that sail and work harder.
Estonia 315. Currently on our screens, Henry Kiva from Estonia having a very good first little leg within this race so far. He is always looking around, scanning his opponents. How can he defend this top place position within this race so far? He is leading out onto that left side of the course, but there we have that mark. So it will be very interesting to see who rounds that mark in first place, because remember, everyone is converging to the same mark.
Yeah, and that's right. They have created a big spread throughout the fleet here, but as we can see, it seems to be a few sailors punched out in the middle there, which is a great place to be in this shifty conditions. You have the option to go to the left or to the right.
To the left, to the right, up, down,
in, out.
There we go. Everything. But what they are trying to do, no matter what direction they go, is find that wind, and these riders on our screens at the minute have definitely found that wind as they are managing to pump up onto that rail.
That is right. This is really tricky conditions. Whoever can work the hardest will get that board onto the rail, and what that means is the windward side, so the side closest to the upwind mark, it just lifts out of the water, and that creates a lot less drag, and less drag equals more speed, everyone.
France 50 on our screens at the minute. He did come in to today, day number 4, in 4th place overall for the under-17 boys. Soren Nguema from France having a very
good competition. Apologies for any pronunciations here, everyone. We are trying our best. And it looks like there are some 3 competitors. They are really punched out, leading this fleet so far. French sailor. Is that the Italian sailor, perhaps? We will get you in close by. Greece. That is great. So maybe Greece 48. So that is our current second place under-17 boy at the moment.
He's having a very, very good race. Greece at 48.
The Belgian has tacked off onto starboard. Look at that. I mean, as we saw, Belgian 94 had the best start. Julian Ome, he had an amazing start in the middle line, and he is making it count. And he was really displaying how hard the pumping could be at the moment. And look at that, another bit of spurt of pumping right there. And it might not look like it at home, but doing that is really physically demanding. And they have to do that for around 20 minutes this race.
20 minutes is the target time for each and every race here at the 2025 Techno293 World Championships here in North Wales, UK, Pwllheli. And, you know, they are showing it. They have what it takes, not only at the start of the week to putting in a huge amount of work and a huge amount of athleticism. You know, they have to do it throughout the week. 6 days of racing here. You know, they have to be able to perform for each and every day, because it's not only the first day that matters. It's not only the second day. It's not only the first 3 days that matters. It is each and every single day that we are putting results on their scorecards, eventually building up to that World Championship title.
That's right. It is a marathon and not a sprint. You cannot win on the first day. So they want a nice, consistent scoreline across the week. Now, one of the great things about windsurfing is after every number of races, you get a discard, which means you get to throw away your worst race. I think by the end of the week, they will have 2 discards to play with, which is great. It allows some wiggle room. It means you can mess up a couple of times.
And that's the thing about, you know, windsurfing. We are relying on the elements as well. You know, it's not something like, let's say, running, where it's the same track each and every single time. We are on different waters each and every single time, whether it's location, but also the wind. The wind changes every single second sometimes.
That is right, yes. No two places are the same. Even in this week, for example, no 2 days are the same. They had windy 15 knots the first day, a little bit less the second day, completely different directions. They have to be all-around competitors to win by the end of the week.
And currently in the lead, pumping up on to that rail yet again. Belgium 94, Julian Omé really putting in the speed, and closely followed by that second place as well. He is now up on that rail as well. Both these top two riders are putting in the work, extending their lead towards the rest of the fleet.
That is right, and they are coming around that top mark as we speak, and he has really kept that advantage from the start, leading from that start all the way around. I mean, it's not over just yet, but they have put themselves in a great position.
But it's looking like all of them have now overlaid that mark. It might be interesting, maybe something to do with the tides out here as well, Kieran, isn't it?
That's true. That's something we haven't even talked about yet. There can be some tides that come into effect in this bay. So maybe there's some tides coming from the bottom of the course up to the top, which is pushing them over that ley line. And that's another thing they have to take into account and keep in their mind as they're racing through the day.
But still, our top two riders is definitely having a commanding lead, and the rest of that top 10 now making their way to that upwind mark, all starting to kind of put in some big pumps to get out on the plane. But now the fight will be to whoever can stay up on that plane on that top reach.
That is right, and it looks like there might have been a bit of a right-hand wind shift. Everyone who went to the right has come out pretty well here, so they are using the wind to their advantage. And a GBR sailor coming through, we love to see it.
Love to see it indeed. Home country.
That's right. There should be some home advantage on the course, but all the competitors from around the world, they have come here, and it's like they have been here and trained here all their lives. They are doing incredibly well.
As we have Greece currently leading the under-17 boys overall coming into day number 4. So, very, very different kind of set of conditions, let's say, for a lot of these riders from around the world. Maybe they were in hotter places, maybe they were in colder places. Maybe their home spot is full of waves, maybe it's full of wind. But now, out here on day number 4, we have light winds, we have kind of not fully flat waters, but not mega wavy, not mega swelly, let's say. And we also have the sun beaming down. We're seeing a lot of these riders, bare arms, getting their arms out, getting the sun on those arms. But also what's really important while most of them having their arms out is that they can be freeness to pump that sail, and freeness on those forearms as they are working those really hard.
That is right. It is very tough on this windsurfing. There's lots of forearms, lots of back work. I mean, it is just an all-round, really is an all-round sport. That is why there's nothing else quite like it.
Nothing else quite like it indeed is, and that is why each and every one of us loves windsurfing. And what an amazing kind of platform to enjoy windsurfing here at the Techno293 class. We have riders from juniors all the way to seniors racing it out here full power as World Championship titles are on the line. But what a shot we have here of this top reach.
Yeah, this is really such a cool shot. I mean, it's really showcasing how they are going down the reach. There's been a few competitors who've decided to take that low line. There might be a little bit less wind because all these competitors above them, they are giving off dirty wind, which just reduces what your sail can capture, and it makes life quite tricky. So the tactic usually is to take that high line, make sure people are trying to go below you, and you're keeping that fresh wind in your sail.
But, when maybe taking that high line, maybe they're taking a little bit more distance. So it'll be interesting to see at that bottom rider there. For sure, they're now covered by all these top 4 riders, but will they be maybe gained a little bit just from doing a shorter distance? We will find out at the end. But it is still Belgium 94, Julian Omé, leading this race for the under-17 boys here on day 4.
That is right. It looks like he has kept that lead, but there are some competitors trying to take that inside line, like Rafty just said. They are sailing that shorter distance. and maybe that will help towards the end. And it does look like it has dropped off out there. There are a lot less people playing at the moment, so it really is becoming a game of who is the fittest, who can work the hardest. Honestly, their muscles will be screaming at them right now, but they have to just keep pushing.
Keep pushing. Pump until you can't pump, and then pump a bit more.
That is the motto. Pump until you drop.
That is it. But it's interesting because for sure in these light winds we'll be seeing non-stop pumping, as seeing Belgium 94 Julian non-stop pumping. However, once that wind kind of picks up to those powered up railing conditions, to those off the fin conditions, then we don't see quite as much pumping, do we?
No, that is true. That is usually when how well you can tune your equipment comes into play. Who can just go the fastest? I mean, there will be times when you will still use that pump to your advantage, but in times like this, when you can pump and maybe go 1 knot quicker, when maybe you're going only 6 or 7 knots, that extra knot is a really big percentage increase.
And throughout a 20-minute course, that 1%, that 1% here, 1% there can build up to a huge amount and could be the difference between a world title and not a world title, as Belgium 94 Julian Omey is showing us exactly how to take that 1% here, 1% there and pump all the way towards the finish. He's currently leading. Will he be able to take it all the way? It's looking like he will.
Yeah, he is certainly putting in a very commanding performance at the moment. Like we said, he is in the top 10 at the moment, but this first will really help the cause of pushing up towards that medal.
Up to that medal, he did come in today in that 6th place position all the way from Belgium. However, we have that 2nd and 3rd starting to get up onto the plane. France 50, Soren Nuegra from France.
There we go. He is really pumping. As you see, as soon as you get onto that plane, you really do have a speed burst increase. But like I said, these sailors have been pumping the whole race so far. So maybe around 10 minutes. So having that effort still in the tank to get that board onto the plane is so impressive.
But now they are on their downwind leg towards that final finish. So a big performance from each and every one of these athletes there. Look at the pumps that they are putting in there. Both Julian in the lead, putting in some massive pumps, but a close 2nd place from Soren, having a very big pumps in there. He is trying to attack. Both these top 2 riders have actually got a good lead to that 3rd place position. Look at Soren there. He is planing. He's caught a wave. Will he be able to catch up Julian there? It's looking close.
That is right, and it looks like the wind has shifted a little bit. Most people seem to be jibing straight onto that port, and it seems like they are heading towards that bottom mark, so there is some variability out there. And to be honest, when you're leading and the wind does shift like this, it can make your life a little bit easier because everyone has to start following you.
Everyone does have to start following you when these angles are exactly like this. We are seeing some differentiations for sure within these riders at the minute. For sure, the top 2 riders, both Julian and Soren, taking that deeper line at the minute.
That is right, and it seems like they're in the commanding position. I mean, people are going at a bit of a higher angle behind them, so maybe they're just trying to get into their own lane, get their clean wind, or maybe go a bit higher, and you do go a little bit quicker when you have that higher angle.
Exactly, as we see right up the top. Let's cast our eyes to the top of the screen now. A big group in there, and now planing. That's where we are. These group are now caught a gust, and look how fast they are going compared to the other riders. They are gaining a huge amount of distance as they have the speed over the water at the minute.
That is right. They are overtaking like nobody's business. But it looks like they are just heading out of the gust there. But as we can see, the competitors who are pumping the most, they have keeping that board planing. And you can just see how advantageous that is.
Absolutely advantageous. Some of these riders would have already, just from that burst from energy of wind there, they would have gained maybe 5-10 places within this race. 5-10 points on the results table can mean 5 or 10 places over the kind of over the whole results. You know, that can be the difference between a top 10 finish, a top 20 finish, a top 30, top 40 finish, or even a win.
That is right, and unlike some of the other fleets, the points are very tight in the under-17 boys. I mean, between 1st and 7th or 8th, there is only 20 points. Now that lead could diminish in 1 or 2 races, so this day will really, really make the difference between who will come out on top towards the end of the week.
Certainly so. Coming into today on our screens, we did have the under-17 boys. For the under-17 boys, Spiros from Greece number 2, currently leading, but only by 3 points from his Greek teammate there, Georgios, in that 2nd place position. And then the rest of the riders, again, as you said, only 20 points separating the top 8. But people from all around the world, we have Greece, Turkey, France, Portugal, Belgium, Spain, Turkey. We have a lot.
That is right, yeah. The World Championships are bringing the best of everyone out there, and as you can see, they are coming to the downwind gate, and it looks like a lot of competitors are opting for that right hand side, so maybe they have seen that wind shift like we were talking about, and it is good to get over there and get onto that lifting tack as quick as they can.
And there is that bottom gate. However, this mark is this is the bottom gate now, so they will be making their way back upwind for the 2nd upwind leg of the course. Remember, we have around a target time of 20 minutes. However, now as the wind has dropped quite a bit, a fair bit indeed, also it looks as if it is swung around a bit. We could be looking at a slightly longer race here.
That is right. That is right indeed, and they have been pumping all that time. They are going to be so tired by now. They are going to see that finish boat, but they cannot go there just yet. They have one more lap to do, unfortunately for them, but fortunately for us and everyone watching at home.
Exactly. The show never stops. Show never stops for us. However, the packing and the pushing never stops for these young athletes out here as well. It is just amazing to see. Only under 17 years of age, but they have what it takes to be at the very top of the world. They have the discipline, they have the work rate, and they have the athleticism to be racing within this World Championships.
That is right. There could be even some future Olympians in the making here. This is where they're gaining that valuable knowledge and all those skills and racing knowledge to put them at the top of the fleet in years to come, perhaps.
Exactly. I mean, this is the class where a lot of those riders, as he said, go on to the Olympics.
That is right. Well, yes, this is where they learn all those key skills. But of course, they have to switch to foiling at the end of the day. Now, Rafty, you are quite a bit of a foil head yourself. Can you maybe give us some of the key differences between this old school now, I'd say, style of windsurfing and the new school foiling that has burst onto the scene?
Yeah, so I did start with Techno racing, however, moved on to foiling quite fast. However, I loved the speed, I love the adrenaline, and I love the action. I mean, not taking anything away from Techno293 class, because it is amazing for learning the ropes of windsurfing. However, big differences between foiling is that wind foiling, you are always flying above the water, so you have a lot less drag. However, you are flying at a lot higher speeds within the course at the minute, but it is a lot more expensive. Let's say it's kind of the progression from here. If you want to increase performance, then you move on to the foiling, which is mainly the IQ foils here. But now we are on the Techno293 class, which is amazing to see. I mean, here is where some of those core sailing strategies are made, those core sailing understanding of the water, of the conditions of nature, and how you can use those kind of tools that you gain from Techno293, use those tools in racing and hopefully, you know, like push to the top of the world.
Yeah, that is right, and it has been around for 20 years for a reason. It is so accessible for people to get into. It's probably one of the bigger windsurfing classes out there, and you can see why. Just look how fun it is. And again, these amazing shots, everyone. This is awesome it's awesome for us to bring this to you live from North Wales, Pwllheli. It is truly a treat.
It is truly a treat indeed. We are seeing all these riders, 56 riders for the under 17 boys, racing it out here on the waters of Pwllheli. We have over 260 athletes within this World Championships fighting out for those World Championship titles. You know, it is absolute pinnacle event here in Pwllheli. It's great to see riders from all around the world here, from Asia, from Europe, all the way from the Americas as well. It is great to see.
That is right. And as back to the racing, it does look like there has been some wind shifts. There is some big advantages being on starboard right now. As you can see, the people over towards the left of your screen, it looks like they're just in a commanding position. And they must be so tired. They're just trying to regain any little bit of energy for that final downwind push.
Downwind push it will be, but it's also now an upwind push. We're seeing a lot of the riders kind of letting off, as you said, of that pumping now. I mean, every now and then we do see some more big pumps, but they are certainly in that displacement mode at the minute, just gliding over the top of the water. But seeing on the left side of the screen, putting in some big pumps now. As he said, it's kind of in that marginal conditions where if they pump to the absolute max and have the perfect technique, they are able to rail that board at the minute. But without it, it's displacement mode, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. We have a fine line between that displacement mode and that marginal railing. I mean, it looks like they do have their feet in the foot straps, so they are in there trying to just lift that windward rail, trying to really think about the speed of their board at the moment, with the occasional keeping their head and eyes and their vision outside the equipment, just scanning the horizon, seeing where their competitors are, seeing where the best wind is. And that is really what makes an all-round sailor, how well you can keep the board going in that small circle while keeping the vision out and seeing where everyone else is.
Exactly. We are talking a lot about railing this board, railing this Techno293 equipment. Kieran, can you give us some more detail on what railing means?
Yeah, so basically railing is when that, 7 to 9 knot wind range starts coming and above, and they start to get their feet in that one of the back foot straps, and they start to lift that windward rail, which is the edges of the board. They're lifting it out the water to come alive, and they really get a big speed advantage doing that. And if they can do that more than their fellow competitors, then they'll likely be going quicker throughout the race course.
Certainly, and one of the amazing things about railing as well, that it feels absolutely amazing, just gliding above the water, doesn't it?
Yeah, that is true. Once you get in that foot straps and the board starts coming alive, it really is one of the most unique things about windsurfing that you just do not get from any other sport. And I think that's why we're hooked, that's why the sailors here are hooked, and that's hopefully why you listening at home will be hooked soon when you go and try it.
Exactly indeed. As we're seeing our leaders still, it is Julian Ome, Belgium, 94, has extended his lead within this race number 11 for the under 17 boys. Extended his lead and now defending his lead to that second place position. Still working that sail, working his body and driving that board forward on his downwind leg here. There is our second place as well, France 50. That is Soren from France in that second place position, still working that sail, working his body, driving that board forward onto that downwind leg.
That is right, and these two competitors did have the best starts. As you remember, there was that black flag, but these two were just they just put everything on the line. They knew everyone would be below the line because of that black flag, and they hit the line so well, and they got the lead from the start, and they've managed to maintain all the way towards that finish. Not much separating them between that finish, not much separating them at all between that finish line. Only that that last bit of that downwind and that final reach towards the finish. Definitely France 50 as well, having a nice position within this race at the minute. He's second place overall. Big distance to that third place, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. I mean, they'll be starting to think that they can see the finish line right there, and they will be chomping at the bit to get over there, secure that position for that race, and just get rested up. Still, they have 2 more races to complete today.
2 more races will be the goal for today, if wind permits, as France 50, Soren from in the under-17 boys is now making his way down to that bottom mark, still putting in some big pumps. That is that rowing kind of pumping, a special pumping for that downwind.
Yeah, when that wind starts to get super light, you start throwing the mast forward in front of you. You're scooping as much wind as you can, and you're basically dragging yourself through the wind, and you then also do that with the clew end, which is the back end of your sail, and we call that butterfly rowing. And there he is, France 50, coming round that bottom mark to the short final finish, and he would be very happy with this race. He's currently 4th coming in today, so this 2nd place will really help the cause, and let's see if the Greeks have an answer for this in the coming races.
Indeed, we will see as France 50 making his way towards the line and finishing his race number 11 here on day number 4 of the Techno293 World Championships.
That is right, and the rest of the fleet, will be slowly trickling over the finish line now. There seems to be a little bit of a battle for 3rd. They're starting to pump, but it does look like the sailor ahead is commanding and will take that 3rd position. Now we will get a sail number on that for you in just a moment. Belgium.
And then we have Belgium 94. That is Julien Omé.
Oh, so maybe he might have lost a position there.
I think so.
He was winning a moment ago. Apologies for that, everyone. But still, a top 5 finish is excellent.
Absolutely amazing work. And that actually means, I think, if we are correct, nothing confirmed, Julien won that race. What a performance from him.
Yeah, that's excellent work, honestly, especially in conditions like this. Very hard, very changeable. Like you can see in the background, they're the mountains we are talking about. When the wind is coming over them, it's getting messy, it's coming from the left, from the right, so you really have to think about where that wind is coming from and start to piece it together.
Piece it together as all these riders are now piece the puzzle together, finishing at their race number 11. This is the under-17 boys. We have 56 within this fleet at the minute, within the under-17 boys, and they are all starting to make their way towards the finish line. And another, even though it has been displacement conditions out here, it's been quite light winds, we've still seen an amazing show for each and every one of these athletes out here. It's great to see, isn't it, Kieran?
That is, and is that a GBR we see crossing the finish line? We love to see it.
I think that is Milo Potts. Milo Potts, GBR 3531, having a good race there. He came into today in 16th place overall. What a race.
What a race. Maybe that's going to start pushing into that top 10. Top 10 at the World Championships. It would be unbelievable.
Turkey 2905 now on our screens at the minute. Arhan Öztürk from Turkey also coming towards the line now. He is still working that sail, closely followed by Greece 39. That is indeed